Welcome to Industry Vancouver, conversations about the residential real estate industry with Andrew Hasman and Jeff Benna.
Hey, good morning, Jeff.
Andrew, good morning.
Hey, it's September. Actually, we're two-thirds of the way through September, right? September, first day of fall.
We're just past the solstice. Heather was telling me yesterday, I always think that fall starts after Labor Day. She informed me yesterday, fall does not start until the September solstice.
Yeah, that's right.
So-
Well, I think a lot of people think, oh, fall starts. You're right? September 1st, it's fall, and it does feel that way when kids go back to school, universities go back in.
Yeah,
Leaves are
totally.
turning, but yeah, I think officially today's the first day of fall, and the leaves are turning, and it is feeling a little bit fall-like out there, which is great. Yeah.
I've got my fall background on.
Yeah, sorry for my background. We had some technical issues this morning, so for anyone watching this, it's just green. But anyway, yours is much prettier than mine.
I like green though, so
Okay, there you go. Yeah, so we've got change of seasons, and I think this was a great time for us to sort of reconnect after our last podcast, which I think was sort of the back end of August,
yes.
allowing us to see what's happened in the first, 3 weeks in September, which is always a pivotal time. It's kind of like January post-Christmas. People are back to work. People are back to school. It's a new season. It's that renewal. And
Yes.
What does that mean for real estate? What's happened in the Vancouver Lower Mainland real estate market over the last 3 years? Are we seeing a market pickup? Is it kind of the same lethargic market that we saw in the summer? What's going on out there? And that's, I guess, for our listeners this morning that will listen to this in a couple of days' time. Hopefully we can give you a sort of a good read on what's going on out there, because it's definitely interesting. I mean, I'm not sure what you're seeing on your end, but I'm sort of still seeing a very uncertain market. And of course, everyone was really banking on this recent rate cut by the Bank of Canada.
Yes.
Great. It's a move in the right direction, but I don't think it's going to save the real estate market by any means. I think we're definitely in, from what I can see, still a very uncertain market going forward, at least to the back end of 2025. What do you think?
So it's interesting. We talk about the mortgage rates first. So
Yeah.
25 basis points reduction on the Bank of Canada overnight rate doesn't necessarily translate directly into fixed rate mortgages. A lot of times it's priced in, so it does have the lowering effect.
Yes.
But for fixed rate mortgages, we can assume the full 25 basis points cut flows through to the mortgage rates. And so two ways to look at that. Number one is your monthly cost of borrowing is reduced. If you've got $1 million outstanding, you're about $182 less per month.
Yes.
Or if you're looking to keep your payment the same, you've got about an extra $30,000 of spending power based on that rate cut. So,
Yeah.
When we go back and we track against the affordability numbers, every little bit helps, right?
Sure. No question about it. Yeah. So basically the rate cut, directly impacts variable mortgages and lines of credit. It doesn't actually directly impact fixed mortgages, which are tied to the bond yields, right?
Exactly.
That being said, I've been watching, and I believe the bond yields have come off. And I think 5-year mortgage rates now are trending closer to sort of 4%, 3.99, 4%. They were up in sort of the low fours a few months back. So they have come off a bit. And again, I don't think this rate cut's going to save the market by any means, but it definitely helps. Every little bit helps, puts a bit more money in people's pockets. And it also maybe gives people hope that, hey, if rates come down, I think there's this talk of maybe 2 more cuts before the end of the year in Canada. So that would bring the variable rate mortgages down into the low 3s, which would definitely help. There's no question. If you remember, it was just 2 years ago that fixed rate mortgages, 5 years, were actually trending around 6%. So we're down 200 basis points, which is pretty substantial. And that is actually saving a lot of people from this mortgage renewal wall that people are facing in 2026. There's a huge number of mortgages resetting this year. And so some of those people took mortgages out during COVID when rates were around 2%.
Yeah.
And then some of them took shorter term mortgages maybe in the last couple of years. The bottom line is that the reduction in rates is going to definitely make it a lot easier for a lot of Canadians that are having to renew at higher rates, because they're going to be higher, but not dramatically higher like they would have been a couple of years ago. So it's not as catastrophic by any means.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
I think the market seems to be bearing that up a little bit. I know typically the first week of September, the first 2 weeks of September tend to be a sort of finding its footing, and then we don't really get fully into the fall market. But if I look at the past month's sales, August surprisingly was quite strong, trending up from earlier in the year.
Yeah.
Vancouver West on the detached side, inventory's up, obviously. The average price has adjusted down almost 9% over the year. Now, you know what we say about averages, giving more buyers, though, choice and negotiating power, and sellers, though, who price sharply can still stand out and attract serious interest. This is sort of leading into our topic for today, which is subject to sale offers, and different parts of the market are active and really bear out that this is something worthy of consideration if you're thinking about a trade up. Vancouver West condos, prices flat year over year. There's some stability there. Days on market are a bit longer, but that's allowing the buyers to maybe choose more carefully. Sellers are benefiting from consistent values. Vancouver East, sales rose, homes sold faster, even though prices eased a little bit. This balance of demand and value creates strong activity and opportunity for both buyers and sellers. Vancouver East condos, interestingly, I found this probably the strongest of the 4 submarkets. Prices softened slightly and the time to sell lengthened a little bit, but buyers have got a lot of selection and sellers are still benefiting from steady demand at more accessible price points. So
Yeah.
the overall market comment, across all property types, prices are under modest pressure down. Sales remain steady. Combination, buyers have more flexibility and choice. Sellers who position strategically can still achieve successful outcomes in a competitive, active market.
But I think they have to recognize where current prices are because there's a lot of inventory sitting on the market and it's not getting bids, right? I know in my case where I've been doing some evaluations for clients wanting an update on what the property's worth, it's been really tough getting a number that I can feel confident with because there's been so few sales of that property type over the last 6 months. So for instance, West Side detached, 50 to 60 foot lots, older homes, maybe homes built in the 1950s and earlier. So older homes that would have been looked at maybe as close to lot value, building lots, just not a lot of sales, but quite a lot of inventory is piled up over the last 6 months. So there's a lot of inventory on those houses and very few sales. And it's just really tough getting a number to them because you just don't have a lot of comparables. I mean, you're using comparables from 6 months ago. Well, the market has changed in 6 months, right? And so that's definitely a challenge, no question. Whereas when you're looking in the condo market where there's a lot more transactions being transacted, it's definitely a lot easier trying to pinpoint a number.
Andrew, you're exactly right. And if we look at the detached houses on the west side, we're seeing a couple of transactions every day. Over the course of the month, maybe 60 or so. And when we look a few hundred in the strata, there's lots of comparables to choose from and there's lots of buyers out there.
One thing I want to point out is we're talking about inventory, what's available in the condo market. As you know, there's a lot of what they call shadow inventory. There's inventory that's actually not on MLS. It's developer inventory in condos that have completed, but not yet sold. So I was out for some clients this past week in New Westminster. Boza have built these 2 properties at the New West Quay.
Yes.
The towers are gorgeous and it's right on the river. And they've built these 2 towers with all these beautiful amenities, just absolutely gorgeous. And so my clients had seen a unit and they wanted to buy. The buildings are built. I asked the sales center. I was in the sales center on, I guess it was last Tuesday. It was a beautiful day. We were the only ones in there. We were there for probably 45 minutes. We did the tour, came back to the sales center. We were still the only ones in there. I don't think it's that busy. And I asked the sales gal, who was very, very helpful. They were just absolutely delightful down there. What percentage of the building is sold? And I couldn't get a straight answer. It was kind of a roundabout. And as far as I'm concerned, they must know exactly how much is sold. I mean, that's what they're doing on a daily basis. According to my client who's interested in a unit, he figures 30 to 40% of the building is unsold. Now, I don't know, but there's no question when we were standing in the west building, looking to the east building, you could see through all the glass, a lot of empty units. There was not a lot of furniture or anything on any of those balconies, but the units were gorgeous. I mean, oh my goodness. And they told me that, the sales center told me, there's definitely room to negotiate on these prices. Boza wants to try and make some sales here. They want these properties sold. But
I've got a question for you because I actually had a client who before COVID, was thinking about a pre-sale in that building.
Yeah.
And I know it well. I actually went down there. I
Okay.
went the whole circus of, you've got to register and then you come in.
Oh, yeah.
You've got a 10-minute tour spot and you can, how are
Those
the
times have
prices
changed.
now? How are the prices now compared to what they were offering at pre-sale?
Yeah, I honestly, Jeff, I don't know. We were looking at a 43rd floor unit, 43 floors up. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It was absolutely
Yeah, the river
outstanding.
view is stunning, right?
Oh, it was outstanding. You could see in every direction, 43 floors up. This unit had a large terrace because it was the way it was situated. It was one of only a few of these large terraces sitting unsold. It had an offer on it subject to the sale of a property. People couldn't sell, so they bought something else cheaper. But anyway,
Yeah.
so my guys have seen it now. And, they're asking 1.35 mil plus
Yeah.
VST for about, I think it's around 1,300 square feet. So about just right around $1,000 a square foot. And the unit's gorgeous, high ceilings. It's got a big 350 square foot terrace. I mean, it's outstanding.
And Andrew, you're in the Royal City.
Yeah, they're all well, maybe that's a good thing or a bad. I don't know. But
That's good. I've got a lot of family that grew
Really
up
good.
there.
See, he like really good value. But again, the building's sitting dramatically, a lot of unsold units. Oh, by the way, the amenities in that building are
Killer.
outstanding. We went to the
Yeah.
gym, we went to the party room and all this and that. I mean, it's just, they got a concierge 24 hours. It is really, really a nice development. But I get the sense there's a lot of unsold product there. And that's just, those are just two buildings in the Lower Mainland. So I think there's a ton of shadow inventory sitting out there unsold in the market that's not on MLS. So if you look
Yes.
at the condo supply, it's actually a lot greater than what is being shown on MLS. It's quite dramatic. And so for the buyers, I mean, it's tremendous opportunity. If you have the interest to purchase something, you can negotiate. These developers, I think, are offering juicy decorating allowances, which is the same thing as a discount, basically,
Yeah,
to
for
get
sure.
you in, to get you signed up. And so we made an offer on this unit, and we haven't put it together yet, but the sales presentation center people said, just make us an offer. We'll work with you. We'll try to get something done. And, we've made an offer considerably below the asking price. So we'll see if anything comes of it. But it's definitely a buyer's market out there for a lot of that condo stuff. Tremendous opportunity, right? It's just interesting times.
Absolutely. Speaking of opportunities in the condo markets and unsold inventory, I saw Ken over at the Chloe. We were looking at a few units over there, and I got to
Okay.
tell you, at the new
Yeah.
prices, they're getting a lot of action.
When they were at the old prices, which was insane, 2,000 a square foot, you walked in, you went, this doesn't make sense. Layouts are awkward. Space is too small. But all of a sudden at 30% off,
All of those objections disappear. Oh, yeah, this is cool. Look at this
And,
great layout.
and it really is a great building in many respects. I think it's got some design flaws. We don't need to get into that. But as far as the location, 10 out of 10. So we've gone from New Westminster, many miles west now into the heart of Kerrisdale. But same
Yes.
thing, unsold inventory.
Yeah.
Developer got stuck with all these units. People walked away on the deposits. Now they're court-ordered sales. And great opportunity for buyers looking to sort of get into the market at nice discounts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's sort of a nice segue for us right into the next point is
Yes.
I was actually talking with a friend of mine who reminded me that he was sort of the first subject to sale offer a few years ago that we successfully put together after decades of it never happening.
Well, I was going to say, hey, for only a few years ago, your first subject to sale, but that can't be your first subject to sale.
Oh, not my first
No.
subject to sale all
okay.
time. I'm just
Okay.
saying it was the start of
A new trend.
this market might actually work for that. So it was interesting. He was in a very common place. He had a great house, really enjoyed living in it, wanted to make a trade up, and didn't want to have the exposure of maybe owning two
Two
properties.
houses. Not a good idea.
The other thing that we come across a lot, which he was also in the position of, he had a really great place. He didn't want to sell it unless he knew he was going to get something quite a bit better.
Yeah.
So with all those factors, we kind of looked and said, well, you know what, maybe the market will support a subject to sale. It's not uncommon for people not to want to step off the curb and sell their place first, but still really have a very strong desire to get into something else. It's just the risk of giving up what they've got is more than the potential benefit of getting into the new thing. So if we can sort of adjust those parameters a little bit to reduce their risk, all of a sudden it makes it a much more viable option.
So have you had any successful subject to sale transactions in the last year and they've actually been successful?
Yeah, we've actually had a couple.
Okay.
We've had some buyers who have bought. And we've had a couple of sellers who have accepted subject to sale offers and they've successfully sold. So I think it's really a great opportunity if you've got the right set of circumstances and you've got the right process and skills behind it to make sure that it gets done right.
Yeah, I don't know if I've had any successful ones that I can think of in recent memory. I've had successful ones in the past. I've always found that sellers that are willing to look at a subject to sale condition have usually been on the market for quite a while.
Yes.
No one else is knocking at the door. And so you have an opportunity to make an offer subject to the sale. But if you look at the underlying reason why their property hasn't sold, a lot of times it's because it's overpriced. It's just sitting there priced too high. And so they will look at a subject to sale. And the question is, the buyers that are coming in and now going to write a condition to the sale, are they going to be realistic on their price? And I found a lot of times you end up in a situation where they'll negotiate a price for the place they're buying, subject to the sale, and then they put their place on the market, and it's not priced according to the market. So the whole process just gets stuck. So that can happen as well. But I think there's definitely opportunity in this market where you have a lot of inventory, things aren't selling so quickly, and certain sellers will look at a condition to sale, giving your clients who are trying to buy the place, it takes some risk off the table, knowing that they're not going to end up owning two properties.
Well, and Andrew,
Yeah.
for that, it's basically just a management of what's that risk worth as a reduction, right?
Yeah.
So if I can buy a place, but I have to pay a couple % higher price to cover the risk of not having two homes, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
If I need to sell my place or market it at least for a couple % or, maybe more just to make it very attractive in the market and ensure that it's sold, I'm actually okay with that too, because on the spread, I'm doing better in a down market. I've got more opportunity.
Oh,
I've got more
no
upside in
question.
the future. But for what you're saying from the seller's point of view, they often see it, the subject to sale offer is a little bit weaker than obviously unconditional or subject to financing offers. But if that means that you're getting a little bit better price, sometimes it's worth taking the risk with a buyer as long as you've got some influence or some say on what they're selling and how much they're going to sell it for, right?
And are they going to price it realistically as well? Yeah, no, there's no question about it. Yeah, I mean, again, buyers have a lot more options in this market. There's no question. Subject to the sale is definitely an option. It's also a better option than potentially owning two properties and getting stuck where you can't sell your existing property. And, that's risky in this market, right? There's a lot of, I've got clients right now. We're looking at putting an offer on a property. They are looking to sell their house, but they're going to go ahead and buy this first property without a condition to the sale.
Right.
So any condition to the sale. And then we're going to list their property. And I had to have a heart-to-heart with them last night and just explain to them that, they could end up getting stuck with owning two houses. Are they okay with that? And the assessment that I gave them on their property a month ago might be different today because the market's showing signs of still some price erosion for what they're selling. And so they need to use a very conservative estimate of what their property is going to sell for to ensure they don't get stuck with $100,000 or $200,000 shortfall, right?
Exactly.
Or I said, the other option, you guys, look, I've been doing this for 32 years and I know with a high degree of confidence that if that property that you like sells, chances are we're going to find another one. There's always another opportunity that comes around. There's no question. So the other option is don't make the offer. Just get your own home listed. The market is uncertain. Let's try sell it. Once we've sold it, now we know how much money you have. And now you can go shopping and you can make a much cleaner offer, which probably will save you some money at the other end as well. And you can offer with confidence, not with all this unknown, right? And so that's the other option as well. And again, everyone's different. People, sometimes people fall in love with the property and they really want to buy it. And of course, we're not going to talk them out of it, but we just want to make sure that we're protecting their interests and not having them get stuck owning two properties. Because in this market, over leverage can be a very unpleasant experience in this situation.
Well, and Andrew, the other thing too is just as a note of caution, like we're pretty good at this, but sometimes the market still surprises us. So, and that can be surprises us like, oh my gosh, where's the buyers? Like, I thought this thing was going to be gone. Or, oh my gosh, look at the buyers just came out in droves and they can't get enough of this thing. So anytime you're looking at that subject to sale situation and you're thinking about the seller's point of view, the perceived weakness of a subject to sale offer, we can overcome that as long as we've got the right price and process on the thing that's being sold to buy.
Correct.
Sellers might also look at the time risk. What if I tie this thing up with this offer and then how am I going to sell it to somebody else? What if the market erodes a little bit more before these guys get their place sold? So as protection for sellers, we've always got that, what we call the shotgun clause, where if the seller gets another acceptable offer, they can give notice to the first people. That protects the seller there. One of the good things, I guess, about it is that I think if you're a seller and you've got your place on and you do get a subject to sale offer, you've got something negotiating leverage, because here's somebody who likes your house. They've got something that needs to be sold first. And you can say, yeah, gosh, I'll work with you. But in order for me to do that, I'm going to be taking my home basically off the market for the time that you're trying to sort it out. And you can expect a little bit of a price premium for that. It's very, very difficult for any buyer to negotiate hard and get a great price from a seller if you've got that subject to sale in there. So I always look at it as you're sort of decreasing your risk. The price you pay for that is usually offering a little bit more than you might normally for the property that you want.
When there's a property that's been sitting on the market for, 2 or 3 months, no offers on it, first thing the buyers always will say is, oh, how come this one's still sitting on the market? And again, that's not uncommon in this market because properties are sitting on the market for 30, 60, 90, 100, 120 days. But no one's bid on it, or there's no offers on it. So no one wants to be the first one to put the bid in, right?
Right.
The minute there's an offer on a property and it's tied up with a condition to sale.
Oh, I got to have it.
Anything. Everyone else wants it now. How many times have you had a listing and you've sat with the thing for 45, 60 days, nothing. Then all of a sudden you get someone who puts a bid in, gets accepted. And then all of a sudden someone else comes in and goes, oh, well, my client wanted that property too. Can we put a backup offer in? It's that human nature. One person wants it, everyone wants it. So
Andrew, we had a little townhouse last month. It was exactly like that. We had accepted a subject to sale offer.
Yeah.
And then just out of the woodwork, there was like 2 or 3 other people. They came and said, oh, we got to have this.
So when I'm representing the seller's side, if I've got a listing and it's been on the market for a few months, no offers, and an offer comes in subject to the sale, then I will very carefully advise my clients to give that offer some serious consideration. Strategy being, the minute someone ties your home up with the condition to sale, tells other buyers that actually your house is a pretty good house.
Yes.
If someone wants it. And it's amazing how in many cases it will attract another buyer to the process. And in that case, we can then, if another offer comes in, we can use that shotgun clause, the 24 or 48-hour clause if we need to, or it might force the first people, once we give them their 48 hours notice, to remove subjects anyway and buy the house. So it gives you extra leverage. There's no question. If you're the seller and you're sitting with your home for sale, nothing doing, and an offer comes in addition to the sale, serious consideration for sure. I don't think I would look at it in the first few weeks, because if it's a new listing, why have someone tied up with that sort of offer? That's just my opinion.
Just muddies the water. Yeah.
It muddies the water. If the market's indicating that you're getting some showings and you're getting some good interest, I don't think I would recommend that sort of an offer. Again, it depends on the type of property too. I mean, it might be something that's it's got a very small market because of the price, because of the high price level or something. But every situation is a little bit different. But it's definitely a condition that we're seeing in the current market being looked at more seriously now than, say, a few years back. And, for many years, if anyone wanted to write a subject to sale, I mean, you just forget it. They just said, shake their hand and say, sell your home first and come and see us when you're ready to sell. Because it would not get looked at seriously. You'd be blown out of the water before you even had the ink dry on the contract. You wouldn't have any success, right?
And so why does it make more sense now? There's more conditional buyers in the marketplace. Softer prices, higher inventory, more buyers need to sell first. So accepting these offers, it can open it up to a wider pool of purchasers.
Yeah.
Slightly slower sales velocity. So the days on market are lengthening. Subject to sale offers might be a more realistic path to securing a transaction rather than waiting for a more rare unconditional bid. And like we said, you've got your time clauses, there's firm deadlines, proof of the listing, and the buyers can certainly have some say of that when we're looking at a subject to sale offer from the seller's point of view. If you're exacting a premium from the market by selling subject to sale, you're getting an extra 2 or 3% for your house, you might be willing to take that risk. If you then look at the thing that's being sold and you say, oh, this thing looks super marketable, yeah, great condo, good floor, nice outlooks, air conditioning, like whatever. And they think, oh, well, the last sale was here. We're going to actually price this one just 2 or 3% below that. Well, all of a sudden it's game on. Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it's just this market. If you're someone that wants to step up and buy a property, there's tremendous opportunity and there's so much more flexibility now. Sellers will work with you. The agents have a lot more time, and it's just a much more comfortable time to buy a place. No question. There's no pressure. You can do your due diligence, subject to sale. If it works, great. It's just a nice time to be buying something. It's a comfortable time. I mean, I think about all the times when in the past, Jeff, when we're representing buyers in the market and the market's going gangbuster, and if you don't make a clean offer, you forget it. I mean, there's a lot of stressed out buyers out there running around like chickens with their heads cut off, making offers, and they get beat out. And I can remember in cases where buyers had made, 6, 7 offers on a property and been beaten out 6, 7 times in a row. It's pretty disheartening, right? So this is the opposite side of that, where you have time to do due diligence. Subject to the sale is definitely an option. It just provides that extra level of comfort. You got some time to sell your house. So there's pros and cons to every market. But one of these things about this market, there's no question, everyone has a lot more time and it's just a lot more comfortable.
Well, it is. And Andrew, I don't know if you're seeing this, but on a lot of just, well, let's call them regular transactions, we're seeing subject to financing requests 2.5 weeks now, by the time all the other contingencies are done. And we know that usually, like if a home is priced right, actively presented, well presented, and it's decent accommodation and a great location, usually within 3 weeks it's gone. Like that's sort of the measure. So to wait a month for a conditional sale, not the end of the world. And if you've got those protections built in where you can give notice if you do give another offer, well, so be it. I think it's a great way to go.
Yeah. And again, it tends to draw more attention to the property. Once there's an offer on that property, subject to the sale or whatever, all of a sudden other people want it as well. Human nature, right?
And from the buyer's point of view, there's less competing offers, so they've got less competition, as you said. Sometimes the falling prices can create a little bit of a timing pressure, so buyers can secure a new property now before selling or while selling their current one. They can leverage against stale listings. Like you say, something's been on the market for 90 or 120 days. The first question we always get is, what's the matter with it?
Yeah.
And sometimes there's nothing the matter with it.
There's nothing. It's usually just the pricing.
You can't show it. It's
your pricing issue
whatever.
doesn't show that well. Access is a problem. Yeah, no question about it. There's no question. Definitely interesting time. So what are you thinking? We're heading into October in 10 days, Thanksgiving. We're heading into that fall market. I say to my clients, look, this is a great time. If you want to take advantage of the fall market, now you want to be on the market right around now, giving yourself about 2 solid months of decent selling time before we hit the holiday season, right? I mean, it's back into September, so that takes us into November and into early December. So we've got just over 2 months of good selling time ahead of us. What do you think? Are we going to see a continual sort of pickup in activity? What's your read on things, Jeff?
I think the fall market actually goes longer now than it used to. It used to be by December 1st, it was like, let's take the listing off the market if it's not sold. We'll see you on Valentine's Day and take the holidays off. Over the last 5 or 6 years, though, I've noticed that the selling season still traditionally starts second, third, fourth week of September, but then it runs all the way right up to about mid-December now. So I think as the inventory starts to thin itself out, all those homes that were on the market in the summer that didn't sell, they're either going to come off the market or the sellers are going to read the market price and say, gosh, you know what I need to do is this. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I think coming into the fall, we're going to see more well-priced listings, slightly less inventory. And I think as long as buyer demand holds constant, I think we're going to see a nice stable market for the resale and for the end users.
So sort of sideways prices sort of stabilizing, sort of flattening out a little bit. You figure? Yeah.
I don't think we're going to see a lot of investor buyers in this market. There's too much to keep them on the sidelines as far as reducing risk. Like for every story we say about a condo that had competing offers that sold really well, there's a couple of towers out there that have some inventory that's going to come to market and is going to need to be bought up.
What do you think about the builders? So, your 50, 60-foot lots that could be purchased and you build a duplex or multiplex. What do you think of that market? What's your thoughts on what's going to happen there?
So I think that part of the market is still undersupplied. So livable homes, medium density, what we've called the missing middle for so long.
Yeah.
And like big luxury homes, I think that market's soft.
Yeah.
Like what we're seeing in Toronto, those tiny shoebox condos, 300 square feet. Nobody's buying those as an investment.
No demand.
But I think for a nice, livable home for however many people, half duplex, part of a triplex or a fourplex, I think there's still a great demand for that because people need a home. They need a roof over their head. They want to live something nice and new. And when you're buying in one of those sort of medium density projects, you're actually getting a lot of value at, I'm not saying it's cheap, but I'm saying it's much more affordable than buying a new house, a full house, and having the weight of all that. So I think as people get more comfortable with smaller spaces and those meet the demand, I think builders are going to keep building those. And I think there'll be sort of a steady outlook for it. Those have never been part of the pre-sale market.
Oh, yeah. No.
Over the years, we've tried with numerous small developers to pre-sell 3-4 unit. And it's just like, well, yeah, okay, I'll see it when it's finished because I want to live in it.
And you get more money for
buying it now,
as well. It's funny. There's a brand new fourplex that just got completed. You and I were talking about this the other day, the one just on West Boulevard. And they did a really nice job with it. Anyway, the real estate signs went up yesterday, I noticed.
Oh, great.
Another RE/MAX agent.
Good.
That has the listing, but I'm excited to see them because I think he did a really nice job with them. There's 4 triangle top homes, 4 in a row. It was an old single family rancher on the property that was taken down as a triangular lot. So it's a bit of an odd lot.
Yeah.
It's right on West Boulevard and it's just come to the market. So I'm excited to see. They've got them all staged up. They've staged up all 4 of them. They've done a really nice job with the staging so I can see through the windows. And so it'll be interesting to see what they've done there and how that sells. Because I agree with you. I think that market, nice locations in and around the city where you see these new duplex or multiplex type properties, depending on as long as the layouts are good. This one looks good. There's some out there that I've seen where they put like 8 or 9 units on a larger lot, and some of the units are very awkwardly laid out.
Yeah.
But I think if the layouts are good, I think there's solid demand in our market for these sort of properties.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, people need a place to live.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful place to live. A lot of people want to be here. A lot of people are here.
Yeah.
If you want
Not everyone needs 4,000 square feet, right?
Virtually no one needs 4,000 square feet. And this is something that we've always heard is that most people, no matter how big your house is, you tend to live in about 1,000 square feet.
Kitchen, family room, your bedroom, bathroom, and maybe the patio. Like so many rooms, you walk in these large homes.
Yeah.
Just not used. It's just crazy,
Oh, yeah. There's no furniture in it.
Yeah.
Just like, what's this? Oh, this is the 6th bedroom.
Yeah. And you go down to the basement. Remember those 1980s houses, the 80s or 90s houses, and in the basement, there'd be a huge hot tub and a sauna.
Yes.
In all the years I can remember, the hot tub would be filled with old wedding gifts. Like there'd be nothing in it other than just garbage, just stuff. No one would ever use them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, interesting times.
So the short version, I think we're going to have a nice stable fall. It's going to be a great time to be selling. I think if you're out looking for a place with rates coming down, I think your affordability is going to be a little bit better, a little bit easier, lots to choose from. Probably a good time for our standard disclaimer.
Yes. Say it, Jeff. We always seem to have it. Yeah.
Actionable information. This is not investment advice, and we're better realtors than accountants, lawyers, and financial advisors. Full disclosure, we are owners of Vancouver real estate. We like it when prices go up, and we make a fee when we help you.
And I said it better myself, Jeff. That's always your job. You just seem to have it down perfect. It's good. It's good. So we're going
to acting classes I took as a kid.
There you go. Drama as well, but I just think you say it better than I do. So there you go. We are going to be talking again, I think probably sort of after Thanksgiving.
After Thanksgiving. So when's the next rate cut? It's the end of October or the
27th
announcement?
Yeah, I think it's around the 27th, just before the federal government releases its budget, which is going to be quite interesting. That's a whole other topic, so we won't
That's
get
a whole
into
other
that.
topic.
But that's going to be the big whammy that's coming. But anyway, I think Bank of Canada, again, is the 27th of October. And I think it's the same day that the U.S. Fed are also meeting as well. So it'll be interesting
Okay.
to see. I think we'll be chatting and we'll be doing our podcast before then. But I think the next one will sort of take us into sort of mid-October, which is great, because then we'll have had a really good idea what the fall market's really looking like. Because I think we're kind of at the beginning of that pivotal period. Is the fall market going to sort of find its legs and really get rolling? Or is it going to continue to sort of wobble along? And I think it's a bit early to tell right now. Sales activity has increased a bit, which is good. But don't forget, we're coming off pretty dismal numbers last year. I mean, we're trending way below 10-year averages. You know, when you see 50 West Side detached homes sell in a month, that to me is about what? I think in a normal year would be at 130, 140 per month.
Yeah, I can remember as high as 200.
Oh, there you go. So we are trending way below. So we're grabbing at kibbles and bits here in the sense like we're at 50 sales now, we're at 53. Like we need to see some real turnaround here. So we're comparing with last year to this year. It'll be interesting to see what the fall market is like. I, as well, am cautiously optimistic that I think we've hopefully hit the bottom and that we're going to start to trend up, not so much in prices, but in activity. And so hopefully some of this inventory starts to get eaten up. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, and Andrew, it's a very good point, is that we might see continued activity and even a rise in activity as prices sort of drift down a little bit.
Drift down, yeah.
From the peak, we're off quite a bit.
Yeah.
But in small chunks, I guess everybody can manage it.
And if you think about some of the high-end, let's talk really quickly, $4 to $5 million homes, West Side, or expensive condos.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really see anything that's going to turn that market around anytime soon. That's a different market altogether. That was a lot of wealthy offshore money coming in, buying up those very expensive homes. I was looking last month. I think there was one home that sold over $6 million on the West Side, and there was one or two over $5 million. Like not a lot of sales. And there's a lot of inventory of those homes. You look at the homes.
Andrew, remember too, with those condos, not only were they, that one group of purchasers, but also the other group of purchasers, which were people that sold their very expensive homes and then went and bought very expensive condos. Those, if they're having trouble selling their house now, they're no longer a buyer for the other.
Yeah, that market's really sort of very, very soft. Anyway, so we're going to talk in a few weeks. So for the listeners out there, stay tuned because it's definitely an interesting time in the Vancouver real estate market. It's one that I think you want to sort of keep closely in touch with because I think there's definitely opportunity out there and there's a lot of stuff going on globally and locally that is giving us reason to stay very, very close to what's going on.
Yeah. And if you need a place to live,
hey,
we can help.
That's right. Pick up the phone, shoot us an email, shoot us a text. We get lots of time. The response time is pretty quick these days.
Oh, realtors are so good at getting back to you. Oh, hi, Jeff. You know, always tell how good the market is. It's inversely proportional to the return call.
Oh, yeah. But like you, Jeff, we've been doing this for a long time. So for me, it's a lot of my past clients, people that we know. And so we just love spending time and making time for our clients. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
I never like to rush things.
Me neither.
Okay.
I'm Jeff Benna.
Andrew Hasman.
This is Industry Vancouver.
We'll look forward to seeing you soon.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in today. We appreciate your time and your attention. If we can be of further help or information, we look forward to hearing from you. We respectfully acknowledge that we live, work, and play on the traditional territories of the Coast Salish people, including the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations.